algorithms to make sure that all of our friends actually see it. Okay. Well, I think we're about ready to rock and roll, guys, for another episode. So let's do this. All right, here we go. On the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. I hope everyone's had a beautiful start to this week, a beautiful end to the week. And for you Aussies, obviously coming to the to Friday Fun Day. We love Fridays, Flex Fridays inside of Better Body Academy. So good. But in this episode, we're going to be talking about the need to stop exercising and start training. Now, a lot of us might think, well, aren't they kind of the same thing? Look, if you've been working out for months and your body hasn't really changed, then this episode, it's for you. Because here's the truth. Most people they're not actually training, they're exercising. And whilst it might sound like the same thing, to me, they're not even close. Let's try to get a loose definition to start. Exercise is movement for the sake of burning energy or burning calories. Training is movement for the sake of building something. It's intentional. Most people don't have a training problem. They have an approach problem. They're going about it the wrong way. They're doing lots of stuff that makes them tired, sweaty, and sore. Tired, sweaty, and sore. But it's not making them better, and they're not looking any different in the mirror. And so by the end of this episode, I want to show you exactly why that is and try to get you to shift from exercising to training, which may actually involve less of a commitment, not more. So let's start here. Most busy parents, people that listen to this show, either our clients or you guys on IG or YouTube or wherever, most are busy parents. And you're doing the best you can, right? You're doing the best you can with the time that you've got. There's work, there's kids. It's kind of like a calendar that's on steroids. And it doesn't look like it's clearing up anytime soon, especially when it comes to the weekend and you're running the kids around for sports and the like. And so when you finally get a little bit of time to yourself, you try to fit in some kind of exercise. Maybe you jump on the treadmill, you do a class or go for a run. Maybe you even lift a few weights. But it's random in nature, whatever fits the time. And you walk out thinking, well, at least I did something, right? At least I did something, which is true, absolutely true. But here's the kicker. Here's the important point. As a busy parent, doing something doesn't automatically lead to progress. Doing something doesn't automatically lead to progress. And when you have a lack of progress, when you're frustrated about your results, you tend to quit, right? So if you do random stuff, something which automatically leads to kind of haphazard results, and then you're putting in all this work and it's not working, then you get frustrated, then you quit. I want you to give me like a silent head nod if you know that exact pattern. It's like kind of showing up to work every day and you're doing a bunch of random tasks, but you never get paid or you never get promoted. Why would you keep showing up? You're maintaining, you're keeping the lights on for sure, which is good, but you're not actually moving forward. And for me, that's the trap of just exercising. Maybe you feel productive because you're sweating or you're hot or you feel like you're doing the right thing because after it, you're tired. Who feels that? Oh, it must have worked because I'm tired. But what's really happening for a lot of people is that you're just spinning your wheels. You're burning calories instead of building your capacity as an over 35, over 40-year-old parent. And exercise by itself, if it doesn't have direction, it's kind of just reactive. Often, a lot of us exercise. I want to challenge you to ask yourself, is this the question for you? We exercise to offset the guilt or to make us feel like we earned our food. It's not a really good frame. Training, on the other hand, training has a purpose, guys. It's proactive, it's intentional, it's structured. When you train, it's progressive. You're not just moving, you're making progress. So let's clearly define the difference between training and exercise. Training means you have a plan. There's progression. There's accountability. You're not just winging it and going into the gym and kind of doing what you feel like. You're building something. Each workout has an actual purpose, and you know what the point of doing that exercise actually is, which, of course, at the start, you'll probably have no idea, right? Because you're a beginner. But by the time you've been training for 3 to 4 months, you really should have some idea, why are you doing this squat? What is it meant to be working? Why are you doing this press or this pull? If you have no idea why you're doing it, then what are the chances that you know that it's actually working the way that it's meant to? When you're training, you're tracking your lifts. You're aiming to get a little bit better, just a tiny bit better, the little 1% each session. And when you do that, guys, it's exciting. Here's the reason why. You give your body a reason to adapt. And when your body has a reason to adapt, guess what it does? It evolves, it adapts. And that's the secret. Your body doesn't just change because you exercised. It changes because you gave it a stimulus that was challenging enough to force it to change. And when you did that over and over and over and over again, you saw change. When you lift a bit heavier, when you move with a little bit better form, or you go for an extra rep, that's the signal. That's the stimulus that we're looking for as a busy parent to try to get ourselves to progress. Your body says, oh, okay, if you're going to keep doing that, I need to get stronger for next time. Is there any penny drop moments for you here? If you've just been going through the motions, yes, you might be doing something, but if it's not just outside of your comfort zone, just a tiny bit outside of your comfort zone, it's not causing any changes because there's no need for the body to change. It can already do what you're giving it. So if you're trying to change your body, either build muscle or lose fat, that's how you do it. You give it a stimulus that's different to what would be maintenance or something that can already do easily. You can't trick your body with just randomness, random workouts, random diets. You can't outwork just being inconsistent. And if you've got this shitty cardio based plan to try to look better physically, you are pushing shit uphill. I'll say that again. I'm not ripping. Cardio is incredible for improving the cardiovascular system. But if you were doing a cardio based workout thinking that you're going to look amazingly better, it's just not going to happen. And here's why this conversation is really important for busy parents. Because, like me, you guys don't have hours to waste, do you? Like, you just don't have hours to waste. Maybe you've got 2 to 3 to 4, maybe, hours a week, tops. Otherwise, what happens is you start to sacrifice time with your kids or your partner, and it becomes more of a negotiation, right? So there's a level of sacrifice. So if you're just exercising, just going through the motions, you're kind of leaving results on the table and you don't have that time to waste. So the way to make it count more is not to do more, it's to be more intentional. You don't need 6 sessions to see progress. You don't. You need 3 well-structured sessions done with intention, where you're not scrolling on your phone. You don't need to leave the gym feeling like, fuck, I'm just completely wrecked. That's not the feeling that you should be chasing. You need to feel challenged. You don't need tons more time in the gym. Everyone thinks, I haven't got the time to do. Yes, you do. Because you only need 3 45-minute sessions a week to get incredible results. Check this out. I'm pretty chuffed at coming up with this little statement. You are not trying to be a bodybuilder, but you are trying to build a body. See the difference? You're not trying to look like Arnold. These people that you see on Insta, that's not your goal. But you are, I assume, going to the gym because you want to look a certain way. And if you don't want that, then it's okay to exercise. But if you do want to build a body that lets you live fully, because that's the goal, functionality. If you want a body that helps you to live better, live more functionally, live more fully, that's what training does. Training gives you more energy in the day. It doesn't take away from your energy. See the difference? When you're training in a smart fashion, it gives you energy. It makes you feel better, not worse. It gives you strength to play with your kids. That's why we want this, right? It gives you confidence when you put your clothes on to show up to work or a social event because you feel confident, you feel great about your body because you built something. You didn't flog yourself into submission. There's a difference. It's not about chasing soreness all the time. It's about chasing strength. So there's a mental shift, I think, that needs to be made by most busy parents. There's a mental shift from I exercise to I train. Like, say that with me. I'm going from exercising. I exercise. Nope. I train. Train has intention. When you make that mindset shift, here's what happens. Your identity starts to change. It starts to change. You stop being someone who's trying to lose weight. I'm trying to lose weight. Who does that? And one of the things that I'm very aware of is that we as humans, we are programmed to find what we've lost. To find what we've lost. And our physiology, our body tries to find what we've lost. That's why we get hungry, because when we've lost weight, the body sees that as a threat and it's trying to put us back to a set point where we have some stored calories, right? So if all you do is chase losses, right? I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to lose centimeters. The opposite of that is, gaining it back, gaining the weight back, gaining the centimeters back. When you start being someone who trains, you're not trying to lose anything. You're trying to gain something. You're trying to build something. You're trying to not punish your body. You want to improve your body. You see the difference? You start walking taller. You start eating better. You start prioritizing sleep because you're not trying to bash yourself down. You're trying to build yourself up. Do you see the difference? Training changes how you see yourself. Think about it. How many of us, if we switched from I want to lose weight to I am training to get stronger, more functional, so I feel better, more confident, imagine that's the frame of which you now look in the mirror. I know that all of you guys and girls have a moment every fucking morning where you get up, you take a shit, and then you look in your mirror while you brush your teeth for a split second and you say something to yourself about yourself. How do we know that? It's exactly what I do. It's exactly what I do. And a lot of us are in this frame of, especially men, I want to say, they look at themselves and they just think you're a piece of shit. And you might not have consciously realized you're doing that, But are you? It's what so many men and women do. They get up, they have a poo, they brush their teeth, they look in the mirror, and they say, "You're a piece of shit," to themselves. And that's the frame of which their day starts. And then they wonder why their whole day is an absolute struggle. Because that's the frame that you set. Because you're trying to exercise, you're trying to chase a negative, you're trying to chase a loss. Instead, you start by saying, my identity is I train. I train. I'm building a body and I'm doing something positive. And when the identity changes, everything falls into place. And you're all of a sudden not that person who's treading eggshells, worrying about falling off the plan. You have all confidence that you'll stay on the plan because that's what you do. All you're doing is who you are. Your actions are just following your identity. I don't go to the gym because I have to. I go to the gym because that's who I am. I don't look at this. For those of you watching on live, my wife, just before this bloody podcast, delivered this to my desk. Look at this. How good does that look? Right? That's not hard for me to eat. I don't have to think about that as a diet. That's a shit ton of fresh tomatoes on some beautiful sourdough with probably 200 grams of sliced turkey. That's not hard. But dieting is hard because dieting, you're trying to lose something. Building a body, you're fueling yourself, you're gaining something. So how do you make this switch from exercising to training? How do you make the switch? First, you stop winging it. You stop winging it. You wouldn't build a house without a plan. So stop thinking that you can build your body without a plan. You've got to follow a program, one that has been built for your individual simple goals, that's challenging enough that you want to go and do it, that you can slowly progress it over time. It includes some downtime, it includes some recovery, and it has the ability to help you track your workouts so that you can see the improvement. So if you're just randomly doing shit around the gym, well, firstly, that's better than nothing. But if you've got yourself into the gym and you now actually want to get results, follow the program that either we've prescribed you or get yourself a program if you don't have one. The program lays out what you should do by the day, every single day, so that you don't have to think about it. You can just think about getting in there, doing the work, and getting out, not trying to be a fitness influencer. Next, your program, with very few exceptions, should be built around high quality movements. Whether you are 20 or whether you are 60 plus, it should be built around high quality movements. Now, at the start, that is going to involve probably some resistance bands and some body weight and some, let's talk about dumbbell. It's going to involve some machines, but we want to get to a point where we are doing some type of squat, some type of hinge type pattern, some pushing movements, some pulling movements, core fundamental movements that help you get maximum return on your investment. If your mindset is, I want to do, ladies, listen up, I need to go in the gym and do toning exercises, what you actually mean is, I don't want to get bulky. What I can tell you is that I am as bulky as I can possibly get with very, very good nutrition, training for 30 years. The chances of you getting bulky with imperfect nutrition and lifting 1/10 of the weight that I'm lifting is fucking impossible, right? You are not going to get bulky. So stop saying, I'm going into the gym to tone. You're not. You're going into the gym to build a body that is strong, functional, and when you press it, it actually feels like it's got some firmness to it. And that's what you call tone. Next, stop So stop chasing exhaustion. So what we've said is, number one, stop winging it. Number two, focus on high quality movements. Number three, stop chasing exhaustion. Being tired, girls and guys, that's not the goal. We're not trying to get tired. If at the end of your workouts, you're like scraping yourself out of the gym on your hands and knees, you probably pushed it too hard, or you did a cardio-based workout. The goal is to stimulate the muscles and then get out. It's not to annihilate the muscles. Does this make sense? You want to walk out of a session feeling accomplished, not fucking destroyed. That's not the goal. If you're always smashed, if you're just hammering yourself and pumping yourself, what's going to happen is you're going to burn out and your nervous system doesn't get time to recover. When your nervous system doesn't come time to recover, your hormones tank and your motivation dies. And what I see all the time is so many people go into the gym, absolutely smash themselves, and then because they feel so tired and burn out as a consequence, two things happen. What do you think the two things are? They smash themselves. Two things happen. Number one, they get really hungry. And so they eat back all the calories that they thought they burned. Number one. Number two, when you smash yourself extremely hard every session, what ends up happening? You're more tired. So you burn more calories in that 40-minute, 1-hour session, but then you go and you're so lethargic the rest of the day. Does this make sense? So you end up burning less calories. So you do all this crazy intensive exercise where you sweat and it's painful, right? And then you're fucked the rest of the day, which means you burn less calories. And then you eat more because you're so freaking tired and hungry. That is why people burn out during exercise in a simple statement. Here's what I see all the time. I see people, they start lifting and then they treat it like cardio. They rush between sets, they barely rest, they pick up random weights at random times and they say, oh, fuck, coach, I don't know why I'm not getting stronger. Because what you're doing is random. You're doing cardio with weights in your hands. If you want to do some cardio, go to the cardio machines and do intentional cardio. But if you're in the gym to try to develop a body that is strong, functional, mobile, you need to give your muscles time in between sets to recover. You can't be on a hamster wheel just constantly going at. No body was ever built like that. If you saw my sessions, what you would see is a guy that goes into the gym for about 50 to 60 minutes. Why? Because I lose interest after that amount of time. Straight up. I do 6 to 7 exercises with intention. I squeeze the muscle as hard as I possibly can squeeze it. I get out as many reps as I can at the given weight of the program. And then I take a 1 to 2 minute rest in between sets of where I either just walk very slowly or I just sit down and rest. Training is a skill. It takes time, which is why people who are trying to rush the process really struggle. So let's be honest. If you're a mum or a dad, it's not even about muscles, right? When you really, really think about why you're doing this, why are you doing this? It's not about muscles necessarily. It's about your mindset. Because when you train and you're telling yourself constantly, I'm not here to burn calories, I'm here to build my capacity, that hits completely different than just going to burn calories. When you train with intention, you build consistency. You keep promises to yourself again. You start believing in yourself again. And that confidence, guess what? Kind of like this cup. The confidence starts to, eventually it comes to the top. The confidence comes to the top and then starts to spill over the top into other areas of your life. This is why when you are fit and healthy, you make more money. You become more attractive to people because whether or not you like it, people make a judgment about you before they meet you. about how you look. Is it unfair? Perhaps. It's what they do, and you know it. So when you build a body that you're proud of, you carry that into the world, because when people look at you, you couldn't give a fuck. You feel good about yourself and you don't care for the validation of other people. The gym isn't just about fitness. I think that people on the outside look at people that go to the gym and don't know, and they kind of think, oh, look at this jock, like these. It's not about fitness. It's a training ground for how you handle life. If you want to listen to the episode that I did yesterday, I had $100,000 in cash taken out of my bank account, not returned. How did I deal with that? Went to the gym. Like, it is a training ground for life, because when you get consistent at routine and you get consistent at controlling the things that you can control and leave life to do the good and the bad like it's going to do, you set the standard. You're saying to your kids, this is how I, as an adult, look after myself. This is an emotionally intelligent human. That is so powerful. To bring this episode to a close, I'm going to summarize some points for you. Exercise burns calories. Training builds character, and there's a big difference. Exercise gives you a good day. Maybe you get some endorphins. Training gives you a better life. So, takeaways. I want you to stop saying, I work out, I exercise. I'd love you to say, you know what? I train. I don't kill myself. I train. I track what I'm lifting. I look for progression, and I do it intentionally. And watch how fast your body and subsequently your mindset starts to change. I'm going to finish off with a quote that I gave you a moment ago. You're not trying to be a bodybuilder, but you are trying to build a body. That's why you're going into the gym in the first place, right? Hopefully this episode has been helpful to give you a really, really clear, simple exercise on clarity about the difference between training and exercise. As always, if you are unaware, we have over 400 podcast episodes that you could listen to. You go into Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts, and you search the Better Body Academy podcast, and you can listen to it all for free. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast, coming to you on another Australian Friday, Thursday over here in Canada. Peace, and I'll see you in the next episode. All right, team. I have not had a look at any questions or comments, if there are any. G'day, Marky. G'day, Jimmy. How are you guys? I'm going to read a couple of the girls just like froth over these podcast episodes. I love it so much. G'day, Nikki. How are you, mate? Ruth's in the house. Sandra, how are you? Nikki says, it's taken time, but I'm seeing body changes now after being out of my comfort zone for so long. Yeah, because your body is now, you've given it enough of that stimuli, Nikki, that it has to adapt. Think of your body as like think of your body as a different being to you, right? Like, after you have given it these stimuli repeatedly, and you're saying, this is what I'm going to do to you, this is what I'm going to do to you, this is what I'm going to do to you, and it's not an absolute destructive flogging, it's a stimulus that you're like, this is what I'm going to continue doing this. So if you don't change, you're not going to be able to do this anymore. This is the reason why, see my pussy little hands, right? See my pussy little hands? Because I don't work with my hands. But my dad is half my size, yet he's fucking got a baseball glove mitt for hands. Why? Because he used his hands. It's such a simple way to understand it. You grow our body by doing work that is outside of your comfort zone, that calluses your current status, right? Having moved away from fixating on the scales, Ruth says, and concentrating on improving myself each little day. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Hells says, I love this podcast. Thanks, Hells. I agree, Helen. This is so good. Sometimes I think, Kate, Hells, we kind of we talk a lot about the mindset on this podcast, right? We talk about the mindset a lot. I think that sometimes we overthink it, right? We get in our heads. So it's just sometimes we just come back to nope. Let's just keep it simple. Like rather than think and then act, just go and act. Just go and do it and watch what happens. And just do it over and over and over and over again. G'day, Jen. G'day, Nick. Nick says, Jace, do you train every day? Definitely not, Nick. Nope, I do not. I train usually, what my week looks like is usually Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, and then either off Friday or off the weekend. So I'll usually train 4 days a week. So this is why I keep saying for the average parent, doing 2 to 3 full body sessions a week is amazing. It's amazing, right? People think to themselves, oh, I can only get to the gym once this week. There's no point. There's a fucking point. There's a definite point. Absolutely, there's a point. In fact, the evidence shows that if you train once every 2 weeks, you will do enough stimulation. If you're training the right way, you'll do enough stimulation to push off any loss of muscle. How good's that? So as long as you sneak a training session in every 2 weeks, you'll do enough to push off any age-related loss of muscle or detraining effect. Now, is that ideal? No, I don't think it's ideal. You're not going to build your body the way you want, training once every 2 weeks, but training, once or twice a week is an incredibly good start. And then what ends up happening from 1 session to 2 sessions a week is a solid increase in outcome, according to the research. It's going from 1 session a week to 2 sessions a week is a huge step. Going from 2 sessions to 3 sessions a week is a good size step. And then going from 3 to 4 is a very small amount. And then when you start to go into 5, 6, or 7 sessions, what ends up happening is you start to get declining for most people, unless you're training really effectively. So for the busy parent, I think that 3 days a week is the sweet spot. Make sense? Got the boys saying, I love training. Josh says, yeah, Paul says, love it. Me too, man. All right, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you there. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, if you need anything, shoot me a message. Peace.